I think so often leaders think, or we give the perception that leaders exist and that we are not people. A good leader is a whole person.
Yeah,
because being a whole person, you're able then to tap into the other person, right?
Yeah.
You have to tap into your
relate.
own empathy in order to connect with another human being. So if you're not feeding your whole self, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself, and you're doing a disservice to others.
Welcome to another episode of Leaders in the Spotlight with me, Taiji Charity.
This podcast is for C-suite leaders to discuss their experiences and provide insight, encouragement, and inspiration for seasoned and inspiring leaders, offering valuable solutions to today's challenges that will inspire, ignite, and invigorate new and seasoned leaders to walk in their God-given authority with compassion, kindness, and empathy. So sit back, relax, and be prepared to be inspired with today's episode of
Leaders in the Spotlight.
Thank you.
Welcome to another episode of Leaders in the Spotlight, where we navigate the highs, lows, and unexpected plot twists of leadership. I'm Taiji Charity, your host. Today, I am honored to be joined by the dynamic Shelby Williams González, a visionary leader at the intersection of arts, education, and social change. With over 25 years of experience as both a professional dancer and arts educator, Shelby has dedicated her career to empowering youth through creativity. She has taught dance for LAUSD and developed transformative programs for nonprofits like the California Dance Institute, A Place Called Home, and the LA's Opera's education program. Now serving as the CEO and president of Inner-CityArts, Shelby is a fierce advocate for investing in the creative potential of LA's young people. She is also a longtime dancer and choreographer with the acclaimed Afro-Brazilian dance company Vive Brazil, using performance and education to honor American heritage. A proud Angelino, she holds a BA in dance and cultural anthropology from UC Berkeley, and she believes in shaping the future of arts education. But besides that, girlfriend got a love for shoes. Okay, bam, there you go. Let's dive into Shelby's impact. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you. We love Inner-CityArts.
Thank you.
Okay,
well, the love is mutual. It goes both ways.
And we had the privilege of interviewing your chief executive officer, Miss Colette, a couple of months ago, I think. So it is an honor to have you as the CEO. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk all things leadership, from dancer, choreographer to CEO.
Yeah.
How did we get there?
It wasn't planned in that way, right? I was not a child that thought when I was 10 years old, like, one day I'm going to be a CEO. I never actually said that out loud. So I came into dance because I felt, so even before I was a dancer, I was actually a martial artist. So my first...
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I'm still a martial artist, still... There's a fighter in me at all times.
You watched all the Bruce Lee movies and all of that stuff going on?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I, grew up in martial arts. My father taught both my brother and myself and some of our neighborhood kids martial arts. We were tied to a studio, and that is actually the main reason I went to Berkeley is because I was, what's the word? I got onto the team. I don't know recruited. That's the word I'm looking for. I was recruited for the martial arts, the Taekwondo team. So I went to Berkeley knowing that I was going to be on this team. And at the time, so this was, I'm going to date myself. This is the 90s. Berkeley
seems
was
like so far away, right?
So long ago. Yes, I was born in the 1900s.
Yes.
But Berkeley was I was joining a legacy. Berkeley was the national champion in Taekwondo for a solid, I want to say 10 years in a row.
Wow.
So it's a big part of the school. Anyways, so I joined the team. I loved it. I was doing it. And then I just happened to walk by the dance studio one day and literal one of those whiplash moments. And I had danced for fun as a child, but never thought of it as a career or something serious. And my aunt is also a dancer, so I've always looked up to her. But passed by this studio and I was like, wait, I want to do that. Because it was a different, it was all Graham technique, which is a contemporary style. So very rigid in its approach and its technique, but creates beautiful, strong, dynamic dancers. And so I took a class, and something just literally changed in my brain, and I just knew this is what I want to do.
Felt like it opened up a whole new world for you.
When you when you just sit in something, you're like, it's hard. I have to learn, but you're so hungry for it, right? So
it's like in your you just know.
You just know. So that's what it was. And so my second, third year in college, I actually it was my third year. I stepped away from the Taekwondo team to fully just dive into dance. And then I quickly joined a company outside of the school, and I was like, and I remember my first paycheck, like, for performing, and I was like, whoa.
To get paid for what you enjoy doing, right?
Like, this is amazing. So,
sign me up.
Yeah, so that's how I started. And then when I left Berkeley, I went to the Alvin Ailey School after, so I lived in New York for a year, and I loved that, but I'm not a New Yorker, I'm a Californian. I need sunshine, and I need flip-flops. That's my lifestyle.
In January, February, December, all the cold months.
Time,
right?
Flip-flops.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the love for Brazil that I have. Anyways, so I decided that, okay, my career, I want to dance, but I come from a family of educators. My mother is an educator. My grandmother was an elementary school teacher for LA Unified. My grandfather was the school psychologist for LA Unified.
Wow.
So I was like, well, I want to educate, but I don't think I want to be a classroom teacher. So where can I teach dance? And that's really what introduced me to the world of nonprofit. So that was a long way to say that I entered through the dance lens. So that's when I started working for California Dance Institute and the opera. And I loved it. That then again opened a world of the nonprofit sector and what that meant to be a service provider and work in collaboration with schools. But I wasn't at one particular school, and I just loved that. And so my life or my profession, I've been lucky and fortunate enough to be able to meld those two, my dance and my creative side, and then continuing to work and just provide the space for others to explore the arts. And I was like, I know that not everyone wants to dance, but how I feel when I'm dancing and I'm expressing myself in that creative way, it's like I want to make space for others to feel that. So that is like my driving force, and why all those parts to me make complete sense.
It is taking all the pieces and putting them together in a very creative and powerful way. So I absolutely love that. How long have you been at Inner-CityArts? And then tell us the mission of Inner-CityArts.
Yeah, so I've been there for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the newest CEO. Inner-CityArts is 36 years old.
Yeah, I know one of the prior CEOs, Miss Cynthia.
Yes.
You know Cynthia?
Yes.
I love her.
So Inner-CityArts, it's known for being a nonprofit arts organization that serves young people predominantly during the school day. So that is a very important part of our mission, to make sure that arts is accessible to kids and young folks during the school day. So we partner with schools to bus them to our campus to experience an art class in one of our studios.
So is it like an elective for them?
Well, it's tied into this curriculum, to their curriculum with the school. And so we serve anywhere from kindergarten to 12th grade. But that school day program, they're fulfilling their standards and their needs for the school, but it's done in an outside setting, right?
That's pretty
cool. It's done on a
cool.
campus that has 8 studios. We have fountains. Like, the artwork speaks for itself.
Oh, yeah, we shot a couple of films there. We get the privilege of working with some of your young people.
And having a campus where you can kind of do like this, right? You can make and change and morph, and be creative.
I love that. How many schools do you work with?
So this semester we have 10 schools, but within that 10 schools, this semester we are doing 87 classes a week.
Ooh,
so it's not just one school for one class per school.
Yeah.
For example, today we will have Quincy Jones Elementary at our campus, and so we serve 12 classes of that school.
That is absolutely amazing. I didn't even know Quincy Jones had a school. So
that is
so LAUSD schools Is that a charter school, Quincy Jones School, or is that a?
No, it's an LA Unified School.
Oh, it is an
yeah,
LA
but we
Unified,
also
okay.
work with a few charters like Para los Niños, which is down the street from our campus. So they actually walk to our campus, and then they have a secondary campus, and we send some of our teaching artists to that campus.
Wow. And how big is your staff?
Our staff, so we are 40 full-time and 4 part-time.
How do you manage all of that?
You just do. I mean,
She's like, girl, you just got to do it. You just got to do it.
I think my strength is I'm very organized.
Oh, that's good.
And yeah, I just manage it all. And I have a team though, you know, I don't ever feel like I'm doing anything alone.
Yeah, so important.
Delegating is really important.
Oh, look,
right?
I can drink to that all day.
Yeah.
I'm learning that because it wasn't always easy to delegate.
It's hard. No,
exactly.
delegation is a hard pill to swallow. I think most leaders, like, we want to do it ourselves because we know what we see, right? You have a vision and you know how to execute it. Right. And I think as leaders, sometimes we feel, or I can only speak for myself, I grappled with handing things over, not because I didn't trust that person, but it's like, I don't want to put that pressure on you. Can you meet my expectations?
That's
right. And like, you got to find that balance of like, I'm going to hand this to you and I'm going to tell you how I see it, but then I need to know to back off to give you space to do it in the way that works for you, right?
That takes a level of maturity and understanding because that is hard because you do have a certain expectation, and I know I struggle with that as well. Like I have a certain expectation, but I never want to make you feel like you're not meeting it. But then I don't really know how to articulate that it's not quite without feeling like sometimes it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to always be the way you want it. Let them figure it out. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I talk myself through that.
Yeah, you have to. And I think I've noticed that I'm now using that technique. Sorry to pivot, but to use that technique. So I have a teenage daughter.
Oh yeah.
I have a 15-year-old. Right?
So
and I think I'm like, I'm noticing it there, right? Like, I want you to get up and be ready for school and like, right? But you know, she's 15, so is she ready for school? Yes, but the way in which she did it, is that how I would do it?
Absolutely not.
But right, you step back, like, okay, no, we got there. Like, we are leaving the house together at the same time. All the things are happening.
Right.
But yeah, did she do it while tap dancing down the hall? No. Right? Although I would really like that. But no, she didn't.
Is she a dancer at all?
No, not at all.
Are you serious?
No, she is not a dancer. She's actually a filmmaker.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, good choice.
So, I know. I might be
choice.
sending her to you. So
I love it.
Yeah,
we'll take her gladly. That's really beautiful. How do you cultivate the culture that you want in inner city arts, or what is the culture of inner city arts, and how do you cultivate the culture you want?
So I would say the culture at Inner City Arts is very collaborative, and that's what I wanted to bring to the organization. I think. So I joined in 2021, right? When everyone was
right on the
still,
heel of COVID.
So everyone was still
God bless you.
figuring it out and still working from home, and you know, a lot of not only COVID, but with the murder of George Floyd in 2020 and how that really started to change conversations that were happening and power dynamics within organizations, which I'm glad everyone took a moment to, you know, turn the mirror on themselves. So I came in knowing that, one, there was just tension. Because life is life, COVID, all those things. And I saw quickly, like, no, we need to learn to trust each other and trust one another so that we can work together, so that it's fun, so it's enjoyable. We have the privilege of being an arts organization, so why aren't we having fun when we're doing it, you know? And like, bring the fun back.
I got to sip to that, bringing the fun.
Bringing the fun back. So that is the culture that I want and that I feel like I model at Inner City Arts. We have, you know, many departments. We got the programming department, the finance department, accounting, admin, right? But let's all work together. I don't care which department you're in. We're all here for one mission,
exactly.
Right? It's for our youth. It's for the students. And then I love that we are surrounded by creatives, so let's lean on each other, right? Regardless of title, role, hierarchy, amount of time you've been in an organization. Like, these are your peers that you can always learn from.
That's good. That is so good and it's so true. And it seems so simple in its concept, but sometimes it's not always easy getting people to buy in to that, because you kind of get set in your way of how you do things, and if somebody's not operating the way you do things, you tend to have that friction and conflict. And so we're learning here to look at things through a trauma-informed lens, because oftentimes working with kids that have been impacted by foster care, they come with their trauma. But what I didn't expect was sometimes staff come with their trauma too. And I'm like, wait, so now we have to make sure that you're okay so that you can be okay for the young people that we serve. How did you, because I'm assuming the campus was closed during COVID, and I applaud anybody that take on a job like yours during COVID and off the hem of COVID. So kudos to you, my friend. But I'm just curious to know, like, I'm assuming the campus was closed for a period, and then you transitioned to the campus being open, kids coming back. How did you get your team to come back? Was that a difficult challenge for you?
It was staggered, and I really feel like the first year and a half was variations of coming back. So in 2021 when I joined, everyone was still predominantly working from home, and they had set it up so everyone had their their laptops and their overhead cameras that they could have at their studio to teach the Zoom classes. So that was how most the daily operations were happening, and then some people were coming to campus. And then what we did the following semester, so this must have been, actually it was like summer. We brought all the teaching artists back. We brought all our staff back, but it was still like Zoom. But you were Zooming from your studio on campus. And then when schools came back, we did have to, but they weren't on buses yet to come to our campus. So we started a residency model. So we had to send our teaching artists out to the schools. So they were there, and then our finance team and our accounting and the development team were on campus. So it was like a very staggered, and we spread out, everybody kind of had their space. So that was like, again, staggered. And then finally we were able to bring students back. When they got on buses, we still staggered. We still did individual art kits, so there wasn't a lot of grabbing, and people were still masking. And I think it was every semester I felt like, okay, let's like add another layer. But now when I look back, it's like adding the layer of what was normal, right? This semester, like this semester we're gonna sit next to each other. Right. And be like, okay, can we like, oh my goodness, like next semester, like we might actually
hold hands a little bit.
We might actually be in like a movement class. Okay, that's what it felt like. Just baby steps to get back. And we did. I think what really helped in that transition time, we as an organization brought in weekly testing. So we were testing for COVID. Everyone got swabbed on a weekly basis, and we did that for about a year and a half. So if anything spiked or anything came up, and then we could
before it spread.
We would shut it down and clean up and disinfect, and
we all learned so much during COVID. I mean, the power of the pivot. Like, I think we all learned how to pivot and found creative ways to still serve, right? But then, like you said, slowly bringing back a sense of normalcy. Like, this is how we operate. We're here in person and all of that. So again, I commend you on just that. Now, as the CEO, do you get the privilege of teaching any of the dance classes at Inner-CityArts?
So I don't teach for their in-school program just because I want them to be consistent, but yes, I do teach every once in a while. So something that we do once a year is something called Team Service Day. So that's our volunteer day where we bring in partners, and every once in a while I'll teach for that. So I'll teach a dance workshop there. That has been really fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I have done that, and then maybe two summers ago, I actually brought the company Vive Brazil came and performed for our summer camp students. And then I did surprise them, and I actually was in the show, but I didn't tell anyone. So, and Vive Brazil, some of the costumes that we do when we dance for the traditional orishas, which are like the gods and goddesses of the African diaspora, you have a veil, and so you didn't know it was me, but you know, I have visible tattoos, so then people were like, wait.
I think, is that
like,
how CEO?
Yeah, is that
Is that Miss Shelby?
Yeah, and then you do one of these. You're like,
Right, like I got.
yeah.
Can you tell me more about the dance company? Though, are you the founder of the
No,
dance company?
I'm not the founder.
Okay.
I've been with them for a very long time. So Vive Brazil was founded by Linda Udine and Luis Badaro. They're based in LA, an amazing couple. And Vive Brazil is very unique in that it really is a international company. So it's based here in LA, but with ties to Salvador Bahia. So a lot of our choreographers and musicians and some of the dancers come from Bahia, and there's an exchange. But we tour as a company. We rehearse here and then tour nationally. But LA being the hub. The hub. Yeah, and it's really to promote and celebrate the African diaspora. So we do everything from the traditional, and I say traditional Orisha costumes and dancing, to Samba Afro, Samba Hege, which are all versions of the Samba, the dancing in the circle. Yeah. Our Samba de Roda, which is one of my favorites. Yeah, it's, I love it. I absolutely, there's nothing. It
More
brings,
fulfilling, right?
it just brings me such joy. And the drum, the sound, anytime I hear a drum, I still get goosebumps. And when I hear certain rhythms, it just does
your body
something.
responds, right? It just
does something.
It's on cue,
It is, yeah. It's I think, ancestral DNA, ancestral memories are real. And for some, it's in our bodies. Yeah. A little, and maybe we're just tapped in a little more. Yeah. Something I'll share about the company. So we have a relationship with Birmingham, Alabama. So I've been on 3 tours in Birmingham. Oh, wow. And, Afro-Brazilian dance is a very niche thing. I don't expect everyone to see it, but when you hear drums, they're I kind of know what to expect. It has very similar to West African. Okay. It is tied to West African roots. Okay. But when we do these shows and we start with the drums, and it's so beautiful because these kids are like, what is Brazilian dance and what are we going to see? And they hear those drums and you just see kids.
Your body just responds.
They just start moving. And I will never forget, there's a specific rhythm for a goddess called Oya, which is the goddess of the wind. And she's very beautiful reds, and it's a very, not aggressive, but very energetic and dynamic dance. Yeah. And those drums started and our dancer went out and we were all looking, and there were kids who they just started doing the moves and we're like, how do they know? But they were just, it was in their shoulders. And I was like, this is why I do this. Wow.
I'm feeling it, and I'm not a dancer. I think I kind of shared that with you. I like to move, but I'm not the best, choreograph. My rhythm and things are off, but that's neither here nor there. But I want to know, what encouragement would you give leaders to tap into that other part of them that they love while also leading? Because you're very blessed to be a leader of an amazing nonprofit organization that blends your love for dance into also what you do as a leader. What would you suggest to leaders who I'm a leader, but I haven't quite either discovered what that hobby is, that thing that I love, and if I have, how do I balance the two? How do I immerse myself in that, the thing that I love, and still lead an organization, a company, or whatever?
Well, you said the right word. It's balance. And I would say that I think so often leaders think, or we give the perception that leaders exist and that we are not people. A good leader is a whole person. Yeah, because being a whole person, you're able then to tap into the other person, right? Yeah. You have to tap into your own empathy in order to connect with another human being. So if you're not feeding your whole self, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself, and you're doing a disservice to others. Yeah. So you do it because I don't know any other, honestly, I don't know any other way to be. when I, if it doesn't feel good or feel fun for me, and maybe that's my ego or whatever it is, I'm like, I'm done.
No,
right?
but it
So-
allows you to, when I think about the culture that you talked about, creating a culture of fun, I see that as enabling you to go and bring that fun because you know how to balance in that regard. You know how to fill your soul and your spirit with the thing that you love. I had a guest last week who was interviewing me, and I've heard it before, like, what do you do for you? And I, as a founder of an organization, I've spent so much time, like my energy has been in building the organization, serving our youth, making sure we exist, making sure we sustain, that I lost a sense of, what do I enjoy doing?
Yeah.
How do I bring that back? I love to sing. I mean, I'm not Fantasia or Jennifer Hudson or anybody like that, but I can hold a note, right?
Yeah.
And I enjoy, like, it gives me such joy when I sing, but it's not something that I really nurture or tap into or find myself in a space where I'm just connected to a group outside of the organization and we go sing and tour and all. And I'm like, how do you get there? And that's why I was asking, like, what advice, like, how do you help someone who's so, or have been so immersed in the work that they've lost a sense of the balance?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it is a visceral, it literally is a visceral feeling when I'm going too far, right?
Yeah.
And mind you, it's an ebb and flow. So sometimes I can't go enjoy being a dancer or doing the things that I love because I know there's more on my plate. But if I know that's a time thing, right? So it'll get heavy, it'll get lighter. So I think about that holistically, but I say, going back to just viscerally, when I am off balance, I notice, like, I'm not so happy with doing my work, or I actually get, like, brain fog. I can't focus. So I need to go and do something, literally shake it out. I'll run it off, and then I can come back and I'm focused.
That's
so
good.
I notice that when I am feeding my personality and the things that I love, I'm better at my job.
It makes
and
sense.
vice versa. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes sense for all of us. Even if you're not in a CEO position or you're management position or you are, staff, whatever it is, it makes sense to fuel or feel that, that inner joy with the things that you love so that you can show up at work focus and it takes organization too.
Yeah, it takes.
You got to be a good organizer.
There's a good time. Yeah, time management is definitely a strength.
Yes.
But just as we put food in our body, right? We have to drink water. You have to get good sleep. You have to flex the muscle of joy. Like you got to do that for yourself.
I'll flex the muscle of joy.
Yeah, it's a conscious, active thing. It's not just like, okay, I'm happy now. No, like, you got to work at it.
You got to work at it, just like you have to work at anything else. That's so good. Who are some of your favorite leaders?
My favorite leaders. Okay, a leader that I don't know, but who I think is amazing is Brian Stevenson from the EJI Institute, right? I think he is amazing. And I've heard him speak at a few conferences. I've gone to EJI in Alabama. I think he's amazing in that, having a law background and then doing this work to release people who've been wrongfully convicted and then create this beautiful honoring to the lynching, which is a horrible part of our history, but something that we don't talk about enough. And here it is in your face. Like, that monument to me is, that is one of those things that gives me chills, and it's a hard topic, but you need to see it and you need to feel it. And I just, to me, he's a leader that puts those things together of the work and action and system change, but also this creative, beautiful outlet and he literally made a space for us to all go and reflect.
That's good.
So
yes, I haven't been. I've heard about it, so it is on my list of places to visit.
It's like one of those places you need to go, or I think.
Yeah,
like,
of
I
course.
went the first time, and you just take it in, like, I won't cuss, but you do. Like, on the inside, all the expletives come out. Right? And then I went back a second time, and it's a different feeling of, like, how do you how do you grieve, but also bring strength from it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You first have to acknowledge the reality of it, right? Like, this is real, and give ourselves permission to feel and accept that this is real, this is what happened. But how do we process the resilience of our people to continue to move forward and make change in our society, right? So it processing and then empowering at the same time to say, yeah, I get to change history.
yeah, get to change it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I have agency.
I got agency.
Yeah, you walk out of there like, man, ain't nobody keeping me down.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna curse.
No.
Can I
She said
curse?
I'm about to curse. She said it's about to slip out.
I can't have it. Okay, I'll put it back in.
Yes, I totally understand. Let me ask you this, because I'm getting ready to wrap up.
Okay.
It's always so hard to wrap up, especially when I'm enjoying this amazing conversation. But do you follow any trends in leadership? Or do you just kind of carve the way? Like, you just do what you feel is natural for you as a leader?
I mean, I think I definitely am a instinctual gut following my gut lead.
That's good.
But I love being in other spaces and hearing what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I learn. I love watching other, like yourself, how you run an organization, right? Seeing how it's not just the arts, but you know, how people are running larger, well, I was going to say museums, that still falls under art. Even education, right? Or thinking about hospitals. Like, I learn from observing others.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that's
good.
Really key.
Does it ever feel lonely as a CEO of an organization or company? Do you sometimes?
Certainly.
Yeah?
Yeah. So my brother is it's funny because he and I were just recently talking about, my brother works for Mattel, and he's pretty high up there. And he got promoted, and one day he called me, and he was like, Shel, like, do you ever get lonely? And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it does. Sometimes it does feel a little lonely because, again, you're the leader, and this perception that you have all the answers, or that, you know, and I'm very humble, and I'll tell you if I don't know, or that I'm going to think about something. I really want to take some time, but there is a disconnect. You know, not everybody asks you, like, oh, how are you doing?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right.
It's kind of rare.
Yeah, that's...
Those are just like those little things, like, oh, yeah, no one ever actually, like, how was I doing? Like with the wildfires, you know?
Because you're so busy checking on everybody else. Yeah,
checking on everyone else and, you know, making sure that everyone's safe, and what do we have a plan, and what do we need? And I took a moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like, no one asked me, am I okay? And I got, my car's packed, I've evacuated.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, you know, you just gotta take a breath.
Wow. Yeah, look, true. It is true. But when you see those moments when they do, like, I can be transparent in saying I appreciate sometimes just the little things that my team does. They might not say it or may not ask, but if like this morning I came in and my studio manager had already unlocked my office door. And I'm like, thank you. Because I come in packing so much stuff and sometimes juggling. But it's little things like that. I'm like, okay, take that in. Like, he didn't have to do that. He got a bunch of stuff on his own plate that he's got to do. But just stopping to, let me make sure I open the door for her so that she don't have to.
Yeah. And I think it also is, but you, at this level, I think you do honor those little things. Those little things are so precious.
Absolutely.
Right? I love that. Yeah.
We're going to land the plane right there. It has been a joy having you here, learning some things. You got me wanting to, you know, test out my dance moves a little bit more.
That's right.
I'm excited. I'm so excited just to be able to share your story, share your journey. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you've heard something today that will help you on your leadership journey. So please do those 3 magical words: like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, have an amazing day. And remember, be grateful even for the little things. All right? Bye now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. I hope you were inspired and you gained some valuable nuggets that will help you to become a better leader and to walk in your God-given authority.
Bye until next time.